Hi guys, thank you for tuning in. Today we are going back to the start, back to the very basics of yarn and all the different instruments you used in yarn crafts. We are going back to the point where you do not know what the difference is between a crochet hook or knitting needle, and looming sounds like a foreign dance I did in the early 2000s. This video is really just to explain the difference in yarn types available on the market, the basic add-on accessories you might need, and I'll also explain the difference between a crochet hook, a knitting needle, and looms. So let's look at the different types of yarn you get. In this video I do not have all the types to show you, but you also get bamboo, silk, and wool. This is cotton. These are ideal for fine projects such as baby booties or summer tunics, or even decorative purposes. Cotton is natural and durable and more heat resistant, but it's more expensive than acrylic. And like with all yarn, you get them in different thicknesses depending on what type of project you have in mind. Acrylic yarn is the most used of all types of yarn because it's more affordable. Acrylic is very durable but also highly flammable. You don't want to use this for pot holders or oven mittens. Acrylic also comes in different thicknesses and colors, which leaves room for creativity. So obviously the thicker you go, the bigger your instrument gauge will be to create your project. Over here we've got Cortel, as you can see. This is more for baby jerseys and rompers, beanies, and also booties. It's very soft. Cortel is also acrylic, which means it's also synthetic, but it resembles more a wool-like fabric. If you are not sure what the gauges you will need, you can simply read on the side of your wrapping what the recommended crochet hook or knitting needle is. Certain yarns are only for looming and not recommended for knitting or crocheting because it tends to be more dense or thick. Over here you can see the recommended knitting needle is a 2.75 to 3.25, and the crochet hook recommended is a 3mm. So let's move over to the other accessories that might come in handy. Scissors are always a must to cut your yarn. They should be relatively sharp, but otherwise it doesn't really matter what they look like. I sometimes even use a cuticle scissor, which works pretty well. Then, not quite a must, but sometimes handy when counting rows or stitches, is a stitch counter. A little nifty gadget that helps you keep track of the number of rows or stitches that you have created. Sometimes these little stitch markers are also handy because crafters like to have everything. You will probably buy yourself a set of these at some point in time. But you do not have to break your budget. You can use a piece of string in a different color to mark your stitches. I will do a video on stitch markers at some point. A darning needle or a yarn needle is quite important. Without this, you won't be able to weave in your ends at the end of your project, and this makes your life a whole lot easier. Keep a few, they aren't too expensive, but I have lost quite a few in the past. Now that I've explained all the added accessories, we can move on to the instruments. Let's start off with the most common ones, knitting needles. The most important factor about knitting needles is that you need two. Some reckon it's easier to learn to knit than it is to crochet. Knitting needles come in different sizes and are made from different materials. Some are made of plastic and some are made of aluminium. It is mostly personal preference to what you use, as long as you stay in the recommended gauge size when using your particular yarn. These knitting needles are used for knitting things in the round. The obvious restriction with a normal knitting needle is that you can only knit straight things. So if you would like to make a beanie or anything in the round, you will use one of these. Next up we have crochet hooks. It is called a hook because of this little hook on the end. It's used to hook your yarn through the little knots that you create. You also get the hooks in different sizes, and they are also made of different materials, plastic, aluminium, or even these gold little plated ones. You also get these little ones with a rubber housing. Again, this is all just personal preference to what you would like to use. Also in the line of crochet, but a total different technique, is Tunisian crochet. It's done with this hook. It looks like a combination of a knitting needle and a crochet hook. And the technique kind of calls for a combination of the two. I will do a whole range of videos on Tunisian crochet. Just like with knitting, you cannot make a beanie or anything round with a hook like this. So then you'll need a Tunisian in the round hook that looks like this, which will help you to create your rounded projects. And then lastly, we have the loom. You get round looms like this and rectangular ones like this. I believe you get other shapes also. Looms are quite expensive. In the videos I will be doing about looming in the future, I'll also make a video on how to make your own loom by using scraps that you've got lying around in the house. So together with your loom you have a little picking tool that looks like this, which you basically use to pick your stitches as far as you go. Well, now that I've explained it all to you, in the next weeks to come, I will be doing all the basic videos explaining basic techniques and then move on to bigger projects as we advance. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please like the video and subscribe to my channel.